hello. Thank you for joining the show today. We'll co-host Gene Speirs as always, and myself, Gary Findlay. Today we have a guest on, a medium, and his name is David Elliot from Grangemouth. So welcome to the show, David.
Welcome, David.
Thank you. Welcome. Thanks for your welcome. Lovely.
Well, David, as always, we'll always ask when you come on. First question, how did you get into the movement? Where did it all start?
Well, I would have preferred for me to have got into the movement in a natural sort of way, you know, like I was like my choice. Really, I think they call it a near-death experience, which I had when I was fighting for my life after I had a brain hemorrhage. And that's basically my introduction card into the work that I do, or the movement, or whatever it is I'm involved in. It isn't certainly through my own personal choice, let's put it that way, through circumstances. I would have rather have went along and been introduced in the normal but you know, my whole life changed obviously, and changed dramatically, and still does, through bad health, basically. And that's
so was the near-death experience what got you into mediumship? Was that what got you into the movement?
Well, that is a near-death experience for me, because you don't know you're dying. You don't know you're having a near-death experience until you come back. So, to me, that experience was maybe a very vivid, dream-like situation. Absolutely wonderful. One of the dreams that you never forget. And it had a very... looking back at it, it was I would never have guessed that I was somewhere else rather than in this place, this earth. There was no indicator for me when I was experiencing that love and that joy, basically, which is indescribable. I've always had difficulties finding ways to share that experience, because words don't cover it.
I was just about to ask that there, David. But I know, as I say, it's unique to yourself, is it? So,
yeah.
What age were you, David, when this happened?
29.
Well, that's young. So, what did you experience? What can you describe some of your experience? Who did you see? What was it like?
Well, what I was aware of was no through a tunnel of light, but certainly round a spiral of very vivid and very live colours, like a whirlpool.
Yeah.
And instead of going through, like, you know, I've obviously read other people's experiences, but my experience was going down through this whirlpool of exceptional colours, and certainly it was just a fascinating experience all round that. And when I got there, when I say when I got there, it was like an instantaneous change. It was like, you know how you go into a place and you feel really good about the people that are there. You feel welcomed. You feel just at home. And that was that real basically was how I felt. But the whole experience was through feeling. Although I was aware visually at times, my feelings were my guide, my indicators of what was happening around about me.
Yeah. So did you see anyone you knew?
Oh, well, yeah, I certainly did. I was aware of my grandparents on both sides. I was aware of, when I say aware, I would rather put it like I had a knowing that that energy that was around me at that time was them. Although there was moments, very, very quick moments, very like they would appear and then disappear.
Yeah.
In my mind or whatever it was perceiving and all this. And I met people. It's strange because I met people who I had always known, but I'd never known in this life.
Yeah.
Okay, and also it was quite a revelation because I met people who had passed away while I was a young man, like in my teens or around about 10, 11, 12, that sort of age. When these people passed away, these young people, they weren't young to me at that time. They were just a little bit younger than me, but they were taken from this life tragically, through accidents, etc. And I'd forgot all about them. You know how life goes on and things change in your life. And when I was aware of them, I was just like remembering something which was important, but you were trying to remember it, and it was so strange to put into words. When you meet someone you forgot, but how can't you know? It's just and as I said, and at times when I relate to that, at times since, there's a wee sense of shame comes into it. You know what I mean? And it's like, because I try to be, my biggest fault is trying to give all that I am when I am in that position to give.
Yeah.
And I always feel that I always could do better. That's certainly how I am. And it is at times I feel how many other people have I forgotten about that I didn't meet then. You know what I'm saying? Because I also I would suggest that first of all, I was aware of two suns in the sky. One was ascending and one was descending. And as they were in the sky, I was reaching out for them. But I only had to reach. I didn't have to put any effort into it. It was as if as I was reaching, they came to me.
Yeah.
And I could touch that energy. And it wasn't like a sun burning. It was just so. It was so crucial, but I didn't know why. And many years later, I used to have a boarding house in Ellsworth, and I had people who astrologers, but they did their work not by computers, because it was very little. Computers were just appearing at that time.
Yeah.
I had these ancient books, and we got into a discussion about, and I was explaining what I'm trying to explain here, about the suns. And they went into this book and they turned the page, and it was all that fine, small writing and symbols. And they says, well, on your day, right, I told them my time, my place, etc., where I was born. He says, on that day, your sign here in this book is of an ascending sun and a descending sun.
Wow. There you go.
Wow. And they were fascinated, and I was fascinated. I don't really know why, but I was just fascinated because it was confirmation that experience really was an earthly history of it.
Yeah.
And some scholars or whatever who came to study astrology had noted that.
Yeah.
How they did that, and you know, your mind carries on. Then it goes in another avenue. You become fascinated in things that are very knowledge from the past for me. I have, you know, like the sayings we have here today, gone tomorrow. I'm always fascinated where it actually, how did it evolve? How did it become? Why? When was it first mentioned? And why was it mentioned? And I just love all that sort of stuff. So, as regarding the sons and the healing was absolutely incredible. I was taken to this lake, and it was like it was shimmering, and it was shivering all silver and sparkle, and it was like the reflections of the sun. And I went into that lake, and I can honestly say that whatever that energy and that lake had, it totally re-energized me in ways which I'm still coming to terms with today.
Well, you know yourself, water's cleansing.
Absolutely.
So
Yes.
And certainly for me, it would have its work cut out.
So,
it's an amazing story, though, David. It's an amazing experience you went through. Yeah.
So
it's absolutely well, it's unique to me. I've listened to other people. I know I've met other people who have had an experience, but everybody has it's unique to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, do you think your experience humbled you in any way?
Absolutely, in ways which are very, very profound. Very profound.
Were you a bit don't like to say arrogant, but were you like Jack the Lad before this happened?
Oh, honestly, Jack the Lad would be pretty close, but no, it doesn't get the biscuit. I was always determined to try and be something that I didn't realise what I was trying to be.
Right.
I put my efforts into my work. I became very successful at one time, fairly early in my life, before the brain hemorrhage.
Yeah.
I was hard working. I had very little time, to be fair. God and its trappings. I didn't have any inclination that God had any part in my life, to be fair and honest about it. Although I was always kind of edging my bets just in case, you know.
Rock and roll lifestyle and a wee prayer to God.
That sort of thing. So I wouldn't say I was a religious man or a spiritual man. If I was a spiritual man, I wasn't aware I was being a spiritual man. And that is profound, because I believe spiritual and spirituality is best served without that feeling that you're serving, if you understand.
Yeah.
I believe that
giving.
And so no. If I was to be fair, my friends I had in my life then were very wealthy. They were very wealthy in a lot of ways. So much so that my daughters were taken. My twin daughters at the time were getting driven around in Rolls Royces, and this particular friend, had 3 Rolls Royces, and that was an issue because his wife had asked him to get rid of 2 of them, and he was really upset about it, and he had asked me to pick what one he should keep. That was the sort of things that I thought were important, if you understand what I'm trying to say here.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Most people, a lot of people think the material things are what makes you who you are, and they don't realise the spiritual part of you is far more important than
Absolutely.
goods. So how did people feel? How were you welcomed when you came out and started serving churches and doing the platform?
Well, it was never as straightforward as that, Jean. I ended up in church by doing my wife a favour by taking her up to stayed in Helensburgh, and they made arrangements to go to Glasgow Association of Spiritualists in Somerset Place.
Yeah.
Which I had no more. I mean, and whoever was taking them up had to let them down, basically, and they were left kind of high and dry. And I thought, oh, I'll take you up. Oh, would you? Oh, I thought, well, that's good. I'll get extra dinner. So I went up to Glasgow Association with my wife and her friends, and my intention was to sit in the car because I was going to read. I had a newspaper, etc. And they kind of suggested to me it would be a better idea if I just came in, because it was going to be a wee bit longer than they actually had told me in the offset. Well, not be long, we'll be just in and out, but by the I got there, it kind of changed a wee bit.
As it does.
Aye. So as I went in there, I was approached. When I say approached, I'd never ever been in anything like that. And this gentleman in the platform asked if he could speak to me, and he told me a lot about my life. And I was mystified by that. I really was. I was also the usual logic, the logic brain. After the service, etc., on the way home, I turned to my wife and says to her, I thought it was really upsetting because that gentleman knew what he knew because you've obviously been talking to him.
Writing, Thomas.
That was logic.
Set you up. Set you up, David.
That was a setup,
Yeah.
I gradually, over the weeks that came, when I kind of thought, well, if that's not the case, and what you're saying is there's someone there, I went along to find out more. So I went to the development classes in Glasgow Association.
No, Friday night.
Friday night, I went there for a long time. And I was saying things which kind of fascinated everybody about them, and I didn't understand, to be fair, why I was saying it. I was seeing things and explaining them to them. I was getting names and I was saying their names to them, and I was the kingpin for a while. Honestly, they were all waiting for me to say something, and everyone went silent, But as you know, Jean, life in itself doesn't leave itself at the door at any place, and people not at that time, but I discovered over a period of time that, or for me, that it was better to know people rather. It's better to know who you know rather than what you know.
Yeah.
And that sort of it sort of muddied the waters for me, if I could say it like that.
Yeah.
Because you tend to look at people in a fascinating way, because if they're speaking in a way, they must have some contact or some connection with something more than just earthly condition. Yeah. So you kind of put people on pedestals.
Oh, absolutely.
And you don't, maybe for me, I was on a pedestal, but they put me on it. I didn't know I was on it.
And the thing is, when you're on a pedestal, the only way is down.
That's actually true, very true. And I was sort of fascinated that human nature has no it doesn't shield you from human nature, if you know what I'm saying. And I learned a lot about myself because of that. Because you have to be a bit more discerning regarding others, and not that you should be feeling standoffish, but I am now what I would say quite removed from others in a sense that I feel more comfortable when I've got my own company rather than trying to be doing with the they say that and did that.
Over the years, I've heard people talk about the person who was trying to develop them was great until they got to the point where they were a threat to the person developing them, and then they were dropped like a hot potato.
It's sad but true. But true.
It sure is.
But we are talking now 40 years being involved at some level.
Long time. Yeah, a long time.
And unfortunately, the landscape may have changed, but the grass is still green, if you know what I mean.
Absolutely. So what do you think we need to do in the current climate within the movement to kind of bring back some kind of stability?
Well, that is quite a difficult question to answer, because for me, the movement in itself is the issue. That is the issue.
Absolutely.
And I'm not. I know this is going to sound really, really like
it's your opinion, and you're entitled to it.
You're entitled to it, David.
I'm not a religious man. Religion to me has caused a lot more upsets in the history of the world, and still does. If I look at modern religion and looking at modern spiritualism, I would say that there's too many divisions. There's too many levels.
What would you class as levels?
Well, if you are able to, I don't mean that with development, but it's like levels of class, different levels of class. If you are able, if you've got ability, which you can help humanity understand more about themselves, and that ability is natural, it is encouraging, it is sharing, it's enabling people to realise that within them there is a special power that once they discover it or come to terms with it, can change their whole perspective in life. Everything. But unfortunately, when you walk into these areas, and it's not just, I'm picking not just the movement in any way or shape or form. I believe it's true in all religions. But if you've not got the means and you don't have the connections, then you're left. You're left. But if you come along with the Rolls Royce, yeah, well, it's true, isn't it? You come along and you've got the means, the financial, or the financial, or the relationship with people who are in authority. It changes quite dramatically. I mean, I'm not mentioning any places, and I'm not mentioning any names, other than when you are at, when it is advertised that there's a reduction in the course for a limited time, and even then it's hundreds and hundreds of pounds. You then can say, well, if it's thousands and thousands of pounds, who has got that income to dispose of?
The thing is, even if you had the money, do you think the course justifies the price in some cases?
No, I honestly think that there's an exploitation of the true source.
Yeah.
I believe exploitation. One thing I would say, and that's not something that has been struck me right away, but over the many years I have observed, and I'm pretty good at observing.
Yeah.
I would suggest that there's things which are aren't they right? They're just aren't they right?
Yeah.
I guess,
Well,
David, all these
What?
courses cost a lot of money, but you still learn the same thing in a good circle. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, a good tutor could teach you the exact same thing for pennies. You know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely. But I
Yeah.
would also suggest to you that all these courses, and there's a constant stream of them.
Oh yeah.
It's what to do with psychology, self-psychology.
Yeah.
The courses are implied to be of a spiritual nature. But really, if we want to call it a spiritual nature, then it's a psychology and how to think. And that is valuable. But it is when you use that wee bit of encouragement to other people to think it's got something to do with mediumship or spirit, then you may be representing it not as openly as it should be.
Yep. Some people are quite dangerous as well because they have people believing that all spiritualists and all mediums do X, Y, and Z, which is not actually the case. I mean, I saw someone who counted up what she had paid for all the courses she had done over, say, 30 years, and then gave people a discount, but it was still like £2,000.
I just don't get it, Jean.
No. And they were also saying something along the lines of, but it lasts for a whole year. So you'll be spoken to once a month for a year. If you pay this £2,000 something, get a life. Who's got
You've got to
that?
be crazy to pay that, eh? As I say, I'm self-developed. I never went to any courses or anything like that because you didn't need to. If you can just go into the stillness and the silence within yourself, you'll find spirit. You'll find that connection. That's what it is.
That is that once I mean, people ask me for advice. I'm doing this and I'm doing that, and it never seems to be. I was then say to them, and I said, well, what is your motivation?
Mm-hmm.
If your motivation's not right, then you're going to find that it's no the way you want it to be. And truth, it becomes the way that energy and that love and that spirit wants you to be.
Yeah.
For them. You're not doing it for you, and that's it. You are doing it to provide an avenue, a path for their loved ones.
Yeah.
Use to just give that little chink of information to let them know, those left behind, that they're not gone. They're just in the other room.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So how do you feel about people who, I'll say medium, but I'll use the term loosely, they're phoning churches, etc., and asking for dates?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, my issue, Gene, is the other way around. Churches don't phone me unless there's a cancellation or something. But
I'm sure that's not true.
Yeah. Oh, you like?
Any other questions, Gary? Because I could talk.
Yeah, you're enjoying it though, David. Are you enjoying what you do? Eh?
Well, absolutely. I can honestly say that if I had that connection, that strength of communication and all my affairs. A lot of people say, "Oh, you got to be careful when you're talking to spirit. You know, you set time, put time aside for that," and I do that. when I'm looking for some intense consideration to a issue that I may, or my family or a friend has, I may focus on that. But all day long, I have communication. I mean, I don't have this sort. As I'm speaking to you, when I'm on my own, I'm speaking to that energy, and I don't know where energy. It's no like familiar energy, but it's energy that I understand by that love. You understand what I mean? You know, and I've been guided. I'm definitely been guided all my life. So, way before my brain hemorrhage, I didn't realise it. Knew I'm aware of it. Very humble.
Do you think your brain hemorrhage was a kick, David, where it got you back on the right path? Do you think you maybe went off path?
Because I was too successful at being successful.
Right. Okay, that's maybe what it is. Yeah.
That's exactly what happened, Gary.
Yeah. The rock and roll lifestyle can't last forever.
That's right, especially when there's work to be done.
So somebody saw your worth and thought, no, do you know what? Let's stop him here and let's get him back to where he should be. Did any of your grandparents actually speak to you when you had an out-of-body experience?
When I was during the near-death experience,
the
conversation wasn't like I couldn't use the word speak.
Right.
Conversation was with a language which was of knowing.
Yeah.
I knew them, they knew me. I knew that love, I knew that familiarity. They communicated with me through their love and familiarity with me. The communication regarding who I was, why it was happening, etc., was all bundled up in energy.
Yeah.
It wasn't spoke to me in any language that we would and at this place, but how it communicated, or how I was communicating in the same level.
Good.
But you understood it. Yeah, you understood it.
And we conversed it with a language which, and that is loose in itself, but the term of English spoken or whatever, that never transpired. That I may have translated what that energy means to me now, everyday events, but that what happens now is nothing compared to what was happening then. Nothing compared to it. That was out of the world.
Yes.
Well,
yes.
They really had to, if you were living the life the way I imagine you were living your life, and they've stopped you, not only to humble you, but to show you how precious things are and how wonderful this world can be if you just slow down and appreciate the gifts that you're given.
Absolutely. I believe that's true. I believe in the wake-up call.
Yeah.
That would be. I would also say that I'm not very astute. So I usually go along when I was working, like the way I was working. I usually go along with ideas gleaned from others.
Yeah.
And I was in a situation which enabled me to be, because I was a bus driver, and for reasons that are very personal that I can't discuss, but nevertheless, I was in a situation. I was put in a situation where I had to provide for my brother, and the opportunity. My brother was a baker, and I was a baker, and the opportunity appeared out of the blue for a bakery fully equipped in Helensburgh, and that's where it started.
Good.
So David, we've come to this part of the time of the show where we asked you, do you want to speak about anything? Is there anything bothering you that you want to speak about, or anything at all?
Well, how long's a piece of string, Gary?
Well, nothing at all. Nothing you want to discuss? Nothing at all.
Well, You know, what I would like to say is that I think that that is such it's a sense, a source of frustration that that people in life who are obviously talented in many ways are having the opportunity to evolve with others, without any source of reward in the sense of financial or material. Just what people in the movement were more open with you, rather than waiting till you're not there to be open with somebody else about you.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yes. I think everybody's the same, David, when they come on. They say the same thing. There's too much of that going on in the movement.
Absolutely.
Without any suggestion about why or any, I don't have that inclination, but I do know at times people who have been in a lot of ways frustrated, not because anything that they're doing wrong. In fact, they're doing everything absolutely perfect, regarding their work for Spirit. But they're coming across disheartening times and disheartening comments. If that appears to me and through Facebook or any other means, I will go that extra mile without any claim for reward or looking for any special anything at all. I always try my best to help those in that situation where they're being frustrated by the conditions around them, by people and whatever, just take stock. If I can help them kind of reground themselves and get them on that sense of the realities of why they're doing it, rather than you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand. Always say forgive them and forget about them. And that's it. And just you continue on with the work that you're doing. And then as long as you forgive them, that root's no in your head. They kind of drain you. You kind of think about them, and you can just go out there and serve Spirit. And that's it.
That's it. And I've got to say also, which is very, very important to me, that if people understood that this energy, this life that they have in this place here, if they could appreciate it,
yes,
that the actual fact that they can breathe and go about their business without any hindrance, in the sense of Parkinson's diseases, or many, I mean, really, I have been absolutely leathered, not only with myself, the conditions, but my family, from meningitis. It's just because the list is incredible. But that's how, and I don't know at times, because I question it. I say to myself, is it taking all this for me to appreciate what I got? Because really, how could I not just appreciate it?
But none of us do. There's always a turning point for us where something happens, and when you get to a breaking point, then, or what Spirit perceives as, right, she's had enough or he's had enough. So then that's when your help comes in, when you really, really need it.
Absolutely. And that's
I always say accept it, accept everything. Life's a test. No matter what it is, something annoys you, accept it and it'll disappear.
Yeah.
Wake up in the morning, I'm always surprised.
Yes.
Good. That's a bonus. That is the gift of life. You wake up in the morning and you're still alive.
That's right. That's right. You're still here.
Service. That's what I start. And Gary will say, I say that. I say, isn't it good to be alive, ladies and gentlemen?
Yeah.
Nice.
It doesn't matter if you've got your Mercedes or not.
No, not one of them either.
Yeah.
No, honestly, I'm so grateful for what I've got, and I've not got what people would say a lot, but I've got an immense conviction that
You've got enough.
I've got immense conviction within myself that this is just a blip. This is just a blip.
Yes, yes.
My friend that had the 3 Rolls Royces is no longer with us. And I can say to you as well that the 3 Rolls Royces are probably scrapped.
Yeah.
Can you take them with them?
Yeah, but what's that? It's truth,
There's no
though.
pockets in a shroud.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely not. No.
Well, David, I would like to thank you for coming on the show today. We're just about done. So you've been excellent. You've been honest. You've been open. You've shared a bit of your life experiences, your near-death experience. You've talked about how you got into your mediumship and everything, and you're still doing it. So for anybody that's watching this, you can see David's. Try and look him up on Facebook. Try and get in contact with him. I'm sure you do private readings, do you?
No, not really.
Oh, no.
No.
Then I'll look him up. Then I find him.
No, I only in very special occasions I do that. I used to be really got ridiculous, but I can say I have issues regarding taking rewards or payments, and I just always been me. If I get my expenses covered, that's the way I am.
Yeah. Well, thanks very much, David. That was really kind of you.
Can I say to you, Jean?
Yeah.
I think I've met Gary before, right? And we'll not say any more about that, but certainly, absolute pleasure meeting you, honestly.
Same to you. I would love to have more time to chat all day because I love people's experiences.
Yeah.
Oh, and I can tell you've had a few yourself, Jean.
Oh, yes.
Yes,
Thanks very much, David. Thank you.
Remember, any cancellations?
Yes.
I've got 2 touches. I'll phone you.
You too. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll speak to you after. Thanks now. Thanks, David.
Thank you.
Take care.
Take care.